El noreste de Inglaterra es una de las zonas más pobres del Reino Unido. En el pasado vivía de las minas de carbón y de la producción de hierro y acero. Pero desde los años 70, los sucesivos gobiernos empezaron a cerrar las fábricas una a una, dejando a muchas familias desamparadas. El Brexit, al que votó más del 60% de esta región, le ha dado la vuelta a todo. Y en esta región, que siempre ha sido laborista, los conservadores han ganado por primera vez en la historia. Muchos justifican su cambio de voto a que los Tories son los únicos que podían llevar a cabo el divorcio con la Unión Europea, pero la mayoría culpa a la indecisión del líder laborista Jeremy Corbyn y al abandono por parte del Partido Laborista de que su voto, por primera vez en la historia, haya sido para los Tories, influyendo así en un cambio de rumbo en todo el país. Vecinos, expertos y políticos dan su visión de cómo ha cambiado social y políticamente la región en las últimas décadas.
Traditionally, the north of England has been an industrial area, which traditionally you would associate with the Labour movement.
From 1945, that you could weigh Labour votes. You know, you didn't need to count them, you need to put them on a weighing scales and weigh them. There were so many.
The northeast feels a long way away from London, and it feels even further away from Brussels.
The voters realised finally that the Labour Party took this area for granted. And that was one of the reasons why, not just on Brexit, but that was the main reason, because the Labour Party couldn't make their mind up about Brexit.
And one of the impacts that we had that I think...
And what Brexit has done is that it's effectively turned it upside down. And so you've ended up with a lot of working class people who live in poorer parts of town, who have more manual jobs. They were predominantly the people who were saying, this is our country, let's take back control, we don't like the EU interfering in our lives. Now those people would typically have voted for the Labour Party, but the Labour Party has torn itself in half and has failed to acknowledge that their core traditional supporters no longer identify with what they stand for. Working class towns, ordinary communities, hard-working British people up and down the country have switched their allegiance from the Labour Party to the Conservatives.
I think the people that changed their votes to come to us were very largely what you would call the normal man in the street.
By the EU and by the
Labour have lost their way. They don't know what the people want anymore. I voted all my life Labour. All my life. But the Labour Party at the present is not good. It does not listen to the people anymore.
People voted to leave the EU. They wanted to leave. And they didn't see that the Labour Party that wasn't part of their future plan. But also they didn't like the leader of the Labour Party either.
Jeremy Corbyn's Labour looks very, very London-centric, based on very left-wing views that don't really chime with traditional working-class industrial areas up here in the northeast.
By lots of people who voted Brexit in 2016 as a way of getting out of the original referendum result. So in that sense it was seen as a bit of a betrayal, I think.
Its policy on Brexit was incredibly complicated, about having a second referendum, and then which way will we vote in the second referendum? Well, we're not really sure, but we'll get a new deal, and it was nothing. In the general election, he offered a very simple slogan: get Brexit done. That was it. So this is an enormous Tory tsunami.
And it's the Conservative Party that has delivered what the people have actually wanted.
The people of this part of the world have lent us their vote. And clearly we want to consolidate, clearly we want to stay there, and we want to prove that it's not a one-off game.
I think Boris Johnson is the only one who can get us out of Europe. Whether the Europeans like it or not, he's going to do it in an efficient way for the people of England, Britain.
People want to change. People wanted the simple thing. They wanted to be out of Europe, rightly or wrongly. Boris Johnson went there within a few days, and I was actually there in the cricket club he went into, and it was so nice to see that. It wasn't done out any malicious, any vicious thing. It was just to say, well, I'm sorry, Tony, but it's all gone. Your little dream of your socialist paradise in this country is no longer there.
Since Tony Blair was here, nothing has changed. So we still have food banks, we still have poverty, and I think people just got tired of voting for Labour and finding that nothing was happening, nothing is changing.
I think most people in the North East feel very much left behind, that the vast majority of money is spent in the London and suburbs, and not so much spent where it's really needed.
Yeah, under that table.
It was a shock to me to realise that people had to go to food banks because they couldn't otherwise manage to look after and feed their families.
Basically, you get like a food parcel, and then other stuff that they're giving out. So you get like toiletries, like shower gels and shampoos, and all different bits and like different stuff for kids. I used to work before about 5 years ago. But since then, nothing. They helped me, so I helped them back.
What we really are interested in is removing the reasons for the crisis, why people come to the food bank, because if we can support individuals and families through the main reasons for that crisis, hopefully there'll be no need for them to come back to a food bank. Hopefully things will get better, hopefully they'll sort the benefit system out because they know that they've got problems with it and they're trying to sort that out, so hopefully that gets better. And then, well, yeah, and then hopefully I can find a job in the future. Labour needs to come back into power, I think, because then the benefit system gets better, then, yeah, people should get what they were getting before.
All right, see you then. Personally, I think it has to represent all working people. We are the forgotten people in the northeast of England.
The future for Labour, I think there are huge question marks, and it is grappling as to whether it is a Leave or Remain party, it's grappling as to whether it's a left-wing party or a right-wing party. I also think it's got to grapple as to whether it is a northern party or a southern party.
The Labour Party does need to do something about the red wall.